Ooh, 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 ooh. Ladies, gentlemen, gamers, and fellow Honkai Star Rail lovers and enjoyers. Welcome back. Once again, continuing with another reactionary video content series for the newest, and I want to say character, but as we'll come to figure out if you don't know already, I think this is just a tragedy case. I think this is just really sad, but it's for Anaxa, and literally, my capybara is kind of blocking here, but it says keeping up with the star rail, Anaxa, ha 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 ha, and I'm sure we'll see why, because unlike the other gacha games, they actually like to include a little bit of lore here, even though it might not be fully canon. At least it's still within the universe and not breaking the fourth wall like it is for Genshin, which is horrible. Zenless is one, they don't even do this one for Zenless, ironically enough. But either way, this is where, sadly, we're still not done with our Casterus coverage, believe it or not, because I count the coverage as ended once I actually roll for the character. I'm rolling for Casterus this weekend. And speaking of Casterus, it's actually very relevant here. Why? Because this is who Anaxa is up against. Now, after Anaxa, I kind of don't really know. And usually I hear through the grapevine who's next, but for this case, I actually am not sure. Which could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. Oh, no, I'm stupid. It's Hyacinth. I don't know how she is, and I don't know if she's going to be best in slot for Casterus, but knowing the trend, she might be. But either way, this is about Anaxa, but we do still have to mention Casterus. So, even though it coincides of my reaction for Casterus not being fully completed, because the rolling isn't done, this is where I think that's the biggest thing that's going to hurt Anaxa here. But that is the secret fourth category that we're going to go over. So going over the normal shebang, what do I think of Anaxa? Number one, meta gameplay wise. I think this is where, ironically enough, Anaxa's still in a hard spot. For sure, he's basically diffing Silverwolf. Silverwolf at this point is basically dead. I don't know if they're going to give her a buff, and I've heard the buffs don't really matter to the old characters that they are giving, so it is what it is. But this is where, for all intents and purposes, with or without the buff, I don't think it matters, Anaxa is putting Silverwolf in the ground. Now, I think Casterus is also putting Anaxa in the ground, but we'll get to that. But meta gameplay-wise, he seems pretty cool. For those of you who don't know his kit, and they're going to go over it here as well, hopefully more intricacies than I will, but his kit is basically, hey, you know how Silverwolf puts a weakness on an enemy that you have on the team? Yeah, what if we did that with everything? What if we put every single weakness on an enemy? And this is where not just Casterus, I think, is putting him in the ground here, but I think partly, not fully, partly, the Herda is putting him also in the ground. This is where the Herda is an erudition character. For those of you who don't know, Anaxa is an erudition character. So, gameplay meta-wise, I'm sure for now, he'll be fine. When things in the game, especially rotating buffs, revolve around him, I'm sure he'll be fine. If there was one character that, even despite his gimmick of providing every single elemental type, whatever weakness on a character, I feel like he of all people will be a person to get power corrupt, and I think he already kind of is with the Herda. The Herda is a extremely good erudition character, and I don't know how Anaxa is going to match up to her. Again, I'm sure his numbers will be fine. I'm saying this as if he's going to be terrible, but this is the first time I think gameplay meta-wise, it's too soon to release something like this when we just got something like the Herda. Again, I think he's going to be fine. If you don't have the Herda, he's going to be great, and if you like him for other reasons, which we'll get into, I think he's going to be fine as well. But it's just, I just think it's a tragedy. But going forward, gameplay meta-wise, I think he'll be okay, not great. The biggest thing I think I can compare it to is maybe Jing Yuan and Topaz. Both got better over time. Both are good. But I don't think both got kind of the limelight, I would say, at least for long, that other characters like Acheron get. Acheron, despite being put down a slight peg, as all the new characters are coming out, she's still extremely fucking strong. With or without Jiao Cho. But regardless, this is where I think he's going to be one of the characters where if you miss him, I don't think you're going to suffer too much. Now, moving on to the second criteria here, his looks. I think his looks are actually pretty cool. The more I saw him, the more I was like, okay, there's a lot of depth to this character, and I like when over time I see that. I think it's a little bit of failing where at first if I see you, I think you're a 4-star. With Anaxa, I was like, okay, whatever. He's a guy, you know. I mean, it's not Zenless Zone Zero, but it's still a somewhat goonerish game. We obviously, with Dawe's intention, these games are really marketed towards single men. But this is where I think Anaxa has a really, really cool design. I think his design's really cool. Not much more to say there. But number 3, and this is the big one, what my personal favorite is, and, you know, actually, before we go to number 3, back to number 2, look-wise, I think his combat is cool. Again, he's right after Castris. How do you follow up something that's heavenly and godlike? Literally, animation creeping, aside from power creeping the game. Castris animation creeped the game. When you look at Anaxa, if Castris didn't come out, he looked pretty cool. And I still think his looks, combat-wise, are cool. He's like an alchemist type guy. He shoots a fucking alchemy gun at you, kind of. It's not fucking Castris, and it's sad. Not every character is going to get the same love and attention that she did. Excuse me. In fact, most don't. But look what I actually really like him. Both, like, you know, his actual thematic, and then also how his combat works. It's not Castris, but it tickles my pickle, if you know what I mean. And then finally, moving on to lore. This is where I was the most shocked, and I still am not caught up with the main story, sadly. Which is also why I'm doing this a little late. I'm behind on everything. But regardless, this is where I think lore-wise, and this is only probably going to get better with the new story too, because I think the story is now finally heating up. I really like Anaxa's lore. For those of you who don't know, you know, obviously slight spoilers ahead as well. This is where Anaxa, basically I think there was a mismatch. Now, maybe this is intentional, maybe not. I also heard potential rumors that the writer's getting fired because Emphorius ain't doing so hot, story-wise at least. But this is where I think Anaxa was set up to be kind of like a mean guy. It's kind of tropey, where he was supposed to be this guy who's against the whole flame chase journey. He doesn't believe in it. He says, fuck the gods, fuck everything else. So I thought he would be very disagreeable, very just, you know, bitter, just against everyone. Not a cool guy. We come to find him, and he's more like Bondrewd from Made in Abyss, where, yeah, maybe he's like a little bit of an asshole. Maybe he does things people don't agree with, but he's very, very smart and very, very on a mission. And I love characters like that, where, and in the story, Iglia says it perfectly. He is not scared to have an idea where the rest of the world is against that idea. And I absolutely love that. I'm honestly shocked by his lore. I think his lore is really cool, and it's only going to get better. Especially where I'm at in the story, where he's basically on a time limit. But regardless, this is where the secret category, which we kind of already spoiled, is competition. Castris is still out. I don't even need to say more than that, but as I also mentioned, the Herda has come out. If you don't have the Herda, and if you're not swayed by multiple reasons for Castris, Anaxa is probably going to be alright, but I think he's literally coming in just ready to fail. And he basically got done dirty. I think he just got done dirty. But either way, that's enough yapping about my opinion, which I hope is what people come here for anyway, because they can just see this on their own. But let's take a look now at keeping up with the Star Rail. Number 1, to see Albert and the funny lore, but number 2, to actually see the intricacies of his kit. And mostly because I forgot most of it. Too busy. Let's see. Ooh, here we go. Ooh.
The Grove of Epiphany.
Oh, shit.
Sources and philosophers are born.
Oh, look at him. I think his design is so much cooler, man, than I originally thought.
For producing countless sages in the past.
He's Professor Anaxagoras.
One sage uses himself as a sword when questioning reason.
He used his own soul to lock doors. Think about that. Oh my, what the fuck is that? That's his technique.
On this episode of
it looks like he's coming.
Let us approach one of the 7 sages of the Grove of Epiphany.
One of the 7? Oh.
Oh,
look at it.
We've invited Miss Hyacinth,
oh, the new character, the new healer. Where's her pony? Where's her My Little Pony?
I should be taking my hat off to an esteemed lady, but today's a bit different.
Look, she's confused. She's like, oh.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure.
Ooh, hi, Hyacinth.
I really love the show. And especially you, Birdie.
Birdie? Yo, he's blushing.
Oh,
Yo, finally Albert isn't getting abused. Wait, where's his feather in his hat?
So soft and fluffy.
Is that from last episode where they took it?
don't say that word to me.
Oh, he's getting nervy.
You after my feathers as well?
Yeah, wait, they're referencing the last episode. There's continuity. There's continuity.
That's a long story. Let's get down to business for now.
Forgot who took it, honestly.
Having obtained a valuable piece of teaching material,
Maybe it was
let's see
Castors.
exactly
Or not
how
Castors,
Professor
Aglia.
Anaxa oversees his
Oh,
class.
let's see. See, I think I gotta pause it here. I always glaze this shit, but it deserves to be glazed. Them putting in all these other characters and having this whole show lore-wise, it's so fucking good. Genshin, take notes. Zenless, start learning.
Anaxa is a wind character following the path of erudition. He is gentle in nature and stern as a teacher.
Such a
If you really
dichotomy.
understand,
Look at his
stern
fucking
sarcasm comes
Glock!
into you.
Like, what?
When using basic attack, Anaxa deals wind damage to one.
His basic is
designated enemy.
whatever. Cool.
The trait's roaming signifier allows Anaxa's basic attack to additionally regenerate some energy.
Not bad.
When using his skill, Anaxa firstly deals wind damage to one
That shit
designated
is
enemy,
so
followed by
cool. That shit is so fucking cool.
instances of wind damage to one random enemy unit.
Like, his gun has an alchemy potion in it, and then he ricochets that shit off of God knows what.
These instances will prioritize bouncing to enemy targets that have not yet been hit by his skill.
Crazy.
It's worth mentioning that his skill will deal more damage when more enemies are on the field.
And he's literally adding weaknesses. Look at this shit.
I thought Professor Anaxa was just an elegant scholar.
He looks so
I
high
didn't expect
society.
him to
He
be
looks
such
so
an expert in
smart.
combat.
Like a man of the
Professor believes
stars.
that the pursuit of knowledge shouldn't be limited to books. Only experimentation can generate the truth.
Tyson's
So
voice
it's
sounds a
all
little
about
weird,
powerful
honestly.
persuasion.
Huh.
True.
Bro, why
Professor
does he have a
always persuades opponents
gun?
as gently as a breeze caressing the face.
There's so much stuff like about his lore where I feel like it's so opposite. Like, it's crazy.
After Anaxa hits an enemy target once, he applies one weakness of a random type to the target for several turns.
So this is where it's not like Silverwolf. Silverwolf adds a weakness that your team actually has. He can add a random one that your team doesn't have, but he's also going to keep adding them.
When a target possesses enough weaknesses, it will enter the qualitative disclosure state,
Oh.
and Anaxa will deal more damage to it.
Nice, free
After
damage
Anaxa
buff.
uses his basic attack or skill on targets in qualitative disclosure, he will additionally use one instance of his skill on the target without consuming skill points.
That's crazy.
It's worth noting that the trait's
Not as
roaming
crazy as
signifier
Castors.
causes Anaxa to immediately regenerate energy if there are no enemy targets in qualitative disclosure at the start of a turn.
Oh.
Amphoreus is crawling with danger.
Wait, they didn't even say his ult. What happened?
Black tide. But even the most
Oh,
fearsome enemies
shit.
are just alchemical
The Fent.
components for
The
Professor
Fent
Anaxa.
bottle.
That's an honor not easily bestowed upon any enemy.
Yeah, Jason's voice is
honor
so
indeed.
weird. I actually don't know if that's good. Ugh.
The trace Imperative Hiatus will provide different buffs depending on how many erudition characters are in the ally team.
So you need to play him with other
Example,
eruditions.
When Anaxa is the only erudition character
Oh,
in the
wait a
team,
minute.
his own crit damage becomes enhanced.
Wait a minute,
If at
what?
least one other erudition character is present in the team alongside Anaxa, all allies' damage is boosted.
Oh my god, I just completely forgot this. So instead of using Mini Herda with Big Herda, you use him. Oh my god, he actually works with her. Holy shit.
When he uses his ultimate,
His ult
Anaxa
looks so
inflicts
fucking cool.
sublimation on all
Holy
enemies.
shit.
Well, in
Reminds me of
sublimation,
Fu Xuan.
7 weakness types will be implanted
That
in
is
enemies
crazy.
simultaneously, lasting until the start of the enemy's turn.
That is fucking crazy. You
And
go
he
into his
also
eye.
deals
That
wind
ult
damage
looks
to
cool.
all enemies.
Not Caster's cool, but very, very
It's
cool.
impressive.
Honestly, it's so
Still, for a
sad.
scholar to be armed with such a deadly weapon.
Oh,
That's a teaching tool, Birdie.
Oh,
It makes sense
yeah.
for a teacher to carry their tools with them.
oh!
When you
She paused the fucking show and she schooled Owlbird. And again, look at the continuity. He doesn't have his feather. Bro, I'm telling you, I gotta glaze this shit based on just the story and the lore.
using his technique, Anaxa inflicts
Better than
terror upon
Emporius.
enemies within a set radius,
And he looks like
causing
he's
them to
literally
flee from him
jizzing.
like the cowards they are.
Look like Ho-Ho.
Actively attacking
Uh-oh.
terrified enemies will be considered entering battle. via
God, I feel like I'm
attacking
saying
a
the
weakness.
Pokemon.
After entering battle, every enemy target will be inflicted with the weakness of the attacker's type for several turns.
Wow.
I wonder if Professor Anaxa is as forceful.
Look,
with
they're
her
looking and they're like, oh
students who skip his
shit.
class.
Oh, he
Well,
found
they're running
them.
for their lives, for
Bro, he's
sure.
gonna shoot them with the
Okay,
Fent.
let's sum it up. A
Wait, what
truly
is
great
this? Is this
scholar
from the
never seeks
campaign?
breakthroughs. They
Are they
create
spoiling?
breakthroughs. Professor Anaxa is good at adding weaknesses to enemies and judging them accordingly. All his
Judging
attacks
them.
can add new weaknesses to the enemy. And after an enemy has enough weaknesses, his damage dealt to the enemy further increases as well.
So he needs to
triggering
ramp up.
one extra skill. He has frequent AoE attacks and
His
has the
eye is
ability
so
to apply
crazy.
melee
His ult
weaknesses
is so
in enemies,
cool.
allowing him to support his team and managing different kinds of battles.
Fucking making Yggdrasil.
Alright, Professor Anaxa may be strict, but it's still an honor for students to study under him.
He's so cool. I thought he would be so mean, man.
We've got a group coming to see what kind of test the professor.
Oh yeah, look, they're coming for a test. Oh shit, the Herda!
This test has an
He's actually
amazing
surprisingly
lineup of
flat.
examiners, including a famous, unparalleled, and absolutely inimitable lady.
Just think about that. This is how you know they want her to stay relevant. They are blowing her even in another character's trailer. Think about that.
Now the answer is clear. The examiners need to figure out how to
That giant
establish
sword.
true genius's interpretation as soon as possible. As for how,
The Fenton gun.
let's watch Professor Anaxa's performance.
Ooh.
As they enter battle, the enemy already has a set stack of interpretation on them, despite already making trouble for the examiners.
Okay.
But there aren't enough interpretation stacks yet.
Oh, okay, okay.
Professor Anaxa is making his
He
move.
starts with his ult.
He uses his ultimate to inflict sublimation on all enemies, adding 7 weakness types to
Ridiculous.
them, and also inflicting qualitative disclosure. Professor Anaxa shows no mercy.
Oh
while
my
facing
god,
enemies
look at how
in
cool they look. They
qualitative
literally look like
disclosure,
constellations.
following with his skill after using his basic attack. This string of attacks
So I wonder if you
applies
could
many
use your
stacks of
skill and then
interpretation
get the
on
free
enemies,
one. The
making
back.
the most beautiful member of the Genius Society hit even harder. Supported by
Ooh.
Anaxa's traits, the lady whose intellect is numerically immeasurable sends
That
out
was
the bad
insane,
students by
bruh.
saying,
They're
"Hear me
glazing
out."
the Herda
However,
in
these students
his
refuse to give up and
trailer.
insist on a retest. If we're patient in their teaching, the examiners decide to grant their request. However,
God,
there
the
are
fact that they're
some
still using
weaknesses on the
Natasha,
students,
that's so dumb.
qualitative disclosure isn't gone yet. Professor Anaxa uses his skill.
He looks like he's
to introduce
doing
additional
no
effect,
damage, by
once
the
again
way.
adding many stacks of interpretation to
Is
help
he
the
supposed to
omniscient
be more
and omnipotent
supportive?
true genius.
Bro, they're just glazing the
Interpretation
Herda.
reaches 42 stacks. The radiantly beautiful lady once again.
Wait, so
says,
is he
"Hear
more
me
like
out."
Jade? Where Jade is, I guess, kind of
The ultimate
supportive
truth
as
of the
well?
universe
She's
is
not like a
revealed
full
here,
damage dealer?
and the students are no match for the examiner's incessant questions.
Crazy.
Ding, ding. Exams over. Hand in your papers. And that's a wrap for this episode.
Wow. Look at Harrison. Bro, she barely spoke.
Miss Harrison,
Oh.
I've heard you've been a doctor at the Grove Epiphany for many years.
Wait, is he
Can you
bald?
Treat my hair loss, perchance?
Oh my
Why
god!
are you bald?
It's all because of your prophecy.
They
The
PNG'd
greatest
it.
plans are hidden in the hall where thousands laugh with joy.
Harrison looks
It's
so
not that
happy.
great
It's
a
kind of
searcher.
creepy.
I'm ahead all along.
Don't worry, I see this all the time. After all, the Grove of Epiphany is full of brilliant minds, and with everyone overworking their brains on research, hair loss is an everyday occurrence.
That's
Is that the
crazy.
true cost of knowledge?
That's why engineers are bald.
Take
They
this,
work too
ingest it,
hard.
and apply externally.
Wait, does that mean Professor Anaxa is also?
Oh shit! Okay, this is pretty good. I'm honestly shocked, man. Again, I just fully think, and I said most of this in the beginning, so I'll try not to repeat myself too many times here. I think Anaxa is just a tragedy case, man. I think he's decently cool. I mean, you know, his damage didn't look too hot there. Maybe he's more of just like a supporting type DPS, mostly for the Herda, it looks like. But man, it's just tragic. I don't know if Hyacinth is going to be best in slot for casters. If she is, God fucking help us. And even the other banners on Castrus's banner, Acheron, top tier, Fugue, kind of needed for Firefly. If you have Castrus, you need Remembrance Trailblazer anyway, so you need to switch from Harmony, so you kind of need Fugue for Firefly anyway. And you have Jiao Cho, who Acheron needs. Well, not needs, but greatly appreciates. It is just tragic. But either way, I think Anaxa is pretty cool. Am I rolling for him? Not by much, because I feel like Castrus, again, I didn't roll for her yet, we gotta see. But I feel like she's gonna drain me, and I'm scared. But we'll see this weekend. But either way, Tim, what you guys think of Anaxa? I think he's pretty cool. I'm probably gonna have to just forego him. If I get lucky, I get lucky, we'll see. But probably not gonna go crazy for him, mostly because of Castrus. But either way, that's gonna be it. Tell me what you think. If you want to see more of me, watch me at Twitch TV /Tecnics channel. Yee!